Hello, B Smitty lurkers. It's been a bit. I haven't posted much as on YouTube as I'd hope, to much disappointment. But I'm not going anywhere. So I want to make this video. I actually have Christian's new part for Street Plant playing right now. It was 2 years in the making. It was all filmed at night. After pretty much we'd meet up at we'd meet up probably like 8:30 ish or so and get coffee in his hometown before we went downtown Cleveland, and we'd kind of park, get stuff ready, and it was pretty much like around 10 o'clock we'd start filming. Some nights, we would end a little earlier than others, and sometimes we'd be out till 1:30 in the morning. It was it was it was an interesting process doing it like that. It's tiring, that's for sure. But it kind of made sense. It was just kind of like almost like a weird love story, I feel like, for Christian, and this is kind of that part. And so this was edited by Adam Cure. I believe that's how you say his last name. Not entirely sure. It was all filmed by me. A lot of the B-roll Christian filmed when I wasn't with him. That's why some of it is during the day, which is B-roll. All the skating is at night. There's basically it's like a two-part video. It kind of like leads up to the full part. Some things I would have liked to see differently is I feel like some tricks could have been better used in the second half than the first half, but that's just my opinion. Anyone else could say that it's a terrible thought, or they would have other things. Obviously, um, that's what's also about being creative, is you do what the hell you want. um, just from when I first watched it, I was like, there's just some things in there that I feel like would have worked better later on. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's just how I see it. But I love the part for sure. We did put a lot of work in it. Basically comes back from California, you know, multiple times a year, just for a couple days sometimes. Sometimes it's for like a week, but obviously we both have things going on and families, and we just make it happen when we can. And obviously it's all at night, so it was a fun project to work on. Uh, and he even just recently messaged me about, the next part might not be like that, how it's all at night, because it's pretty grueling when you, especially, with Christian have as many video parts in his career. It gets harder for sure. So yeah, this part starts off as pretty much all of his parts do. It's just like fast cuts, fast edits, and it's good stuff. There's things in there that I totally forgot, which that's what's nice to see his parts too. You I almost like relive doing it. When I'm watching it, so it's pretty cool. The fakie ollie and then fakie heel flip pivot is one of my favorite things that we filmed, and that was he actually lost his board off the bridge, which you see a clip of him like kind of hopping off the bridge at the beginning, and we were exhausted before we started skating because he lost his board first thing. Didn't even do anything beforehand. It's cool to see a little clip from the Rock Hall. If you're wondering what one it is, it's the Airwalk. I've always talked about that spot, and it's cool to see that in one of his video parts. The Playhouse Square. I mean, I literally think he's probably the first person to do anything over that. So that was rad. The funny thing with Christian is like I'm kind of like a director. It's been that way. A lot of times I'll think of an idea for him, and I'm like, this would be great, and then we either do it or don't do it. But it's kind of like kind of how we work together. Yeah, the snow footage. We've got a lot of messages. A lot of people seem to love the snow footage. It was so cold, as below zero wind chill, and we wanted to make it happen. And it actually ended up being really fun. It was it was freezing, but it was so fun doing that stuff. And I like how you can actually see my boot, because I was literally skating around Cleveland wearing boots because it's so cold. I was in a full get up. I had glasses because like I knew snow was gonna be flying in my face, because I was pretty much right next to his board. As you can tell, Christian likes having the camera as close basically as possible to his board. It's really hard with the camera that he uses to do that and have everything in there. that's also one thing at the end. The backside grab is kind of, I think that's my biggest, my biggest, I don't even know, mystery why that was the ender. Um, but yeah, this is actually, I really enjoy watching this part. I think this part is kind of like a gateway, um, because we always talk about ideas and and kind of what we're gonna do next. I feel like that's how we work. We enjoy the process. We enjoy. I think he's like me within skateboarding. Um, Even when I'd skate, I pretty much I went out skating to be productive, whether it's filming or shooting photos, and that's how he is. He likes to just produce, and so we're always when we're working on a project. It's not like we're thinking about the next project while we're working on it, but we know, like, especially when we're at the end, when he's like coming out to look for his last trip. That's really when the conversation starts. That like we'll be back out here, and kind of get going on that next thing. And the reason I say this is a gateway, um, is I feel like from the conversations that we've had, it's just there's gonna be, an idea for video parts, and that might change, um, but that's pretty much where we're heading. And this is definitely that, the love letter to Cleveland, and really embracing that and kind of showing what it's like almost just basically by watching him skate, the way it's filmed, and the spots, obviously, like how it is to skate in Cleveland. There's definitely other places like it. East Coast, definitely has all these vibes, and but skateboarding's heavy. When you think a lot of people think of skateboarding, schoolyards and California and beautiful spots, beautiful ledges. There's not one beautiful ledge in Cleveland. There's not a beautiful anything to skate in Cleveland. Everything is rough. Everything has gnarly cracks. It's just a whole different game when it comes to skateboarding in Cleveland, and I think this kind of is a good example of of that and what it was like to grow up skateboarding in Cleveland. And I think a good thing to kind of take with this video part, if you're a person who likes to film, or if you're a skateboarder wanting to be filmed, or and all that kind of stuff, is it could be pricey to get into filming and having a camera and all that kind of stuff. But the crazy thing is this video part, which many of his recent parts is the same camera, but we're still using the same camera. Is he has a GoPro Hero 3 Plus. I don't even know how many years ago he got that. It has to be 4 or 5 years ago. It's not even a fisheye. Like it's a wide angle. It's not like the death lens from back in the day. It's nothing even close to the super views on GoPro, and even like just like the standard lens that's on there now. It's a wide lens, and that's it. And that's why when I mentioned earlier about how it's kind of difficult to be close and get all everything in at once, is it doesn't have that vertical. It's just wide. So like when I'm at the board, it's at the board. You're not going to see much else like you can when you're filming with like a depth lens or something with like a super view or something like that. Is Yeah, it's there's a lot of constrictions with that camera, but it goes to show that you don't really have to worry about the equipment. We use that, and there you can see the microphone because the camera got hit like 4 times or 5 times in this video part, and we use a Zoom H1 microphone on it's basically a handle, sun pack handle. And honestly, if you wanted to not have the microphone, and you're gonna put music over it and just kind of just go for it, then you save yourself money that way. That's what I would do. I mean, obviously, the first things I would get is, obviously, if you're on a super budget and they're like, oh, that's I could just get that camera that Christian uses for his part, get that camera, get the handle, and just start from there. And then if you want better audio, you can get something like the Zoom H1, or Rode has plenty of great microphones as well, but he uses the Zoom H1 because that's what he bought. Christian doesn't really like to spend money on other on upgrades because it works, and the camera's so beat up to where we can't hear the audio when we play back when we're on location. So it's just we just make sure the mic's on, and basically hope for the best, I guess, when it comes to audio, which he knows it's still working. So Um, yeah, you could only imagine from all those times getting hit, over these years, why things like that happen. And it freezes up, and I feel like there's a few times where, we had to take the battery out, put it back in, and all these kind of things. But yeah, so yeah, this was filmed with a GoPro. If you can afford the newer GoPro, the GoPro 6, that's a whole nother thing with this footage. You're so close, you're at a handle, and a lot of this was filmed in colder weather, and you're moving a lot, and you're doing all these things. There's zero stabilization in this camera, so you can definitely see there's shakes. It's just, and the very first, when the first credit rolls up at the end, when he ollies over the rail, like it goes vertical and you hear a ting noise, it's because the handle smacked the pole he was ollieing over, and that's why he kind of went out of frame there for a second. Is the handle popped it, and I just kind of brought it right back, and went with that, and then we just refilmed just the ollie that's in the middle of the part somewhere. And but yeah, so I mean the newer camera has built-in stabilization, and it's crazy. So if you have that with a handle, the new GoPro, like if you can afford or have an extra microphone, obviously that's going to be better than the built-in. But the built-in is actually, I think, perfectly fine, especially for skateboarding. Um, but if you can have one that's more directional, obviously that's going to sound better. There's definitely no arguments there. But for sure, though, I mean, if I were to choose with Christian, like maybe I'd throw a mic on there, but I actually doubt it. If I was using the GoPro 6, I would probably just throw that on the handle and call it a day. It's just one less thing to worry about. It's one less thing to break getting hit. It's just, I would probably just go that way, especially because like the skate sound needs to be there, because without the skate sound, it's kind of like almost like in a strange way, at least for me, a little boring to watch. And I think that's what I was kind of talking about, that beginning part, the second part, where it's like there's such good like footage in there that could be like swapped with something else. But that's my opinion, obviously. You know, it doesn't really matter. But it's kind of what I'm saying is like the sound does do a lot. So as long as it's recording the sound, there's nothing really that like precious with audio and skateboarding. It's a grinding sound. So if you can capture at least a decent quality of that, even just built in, then go for it. That was a little bit of audio rant there, but obviously whatever you feel works. If I had a mic, I'd throw it on. If not, I wouldn't give a crap either, especially the new one. The GoPro 3 Plus, I haven't heard it, but I remember it being like pretty bad in that. So that's why we got a mic. But everyone could do whatever they want. It's budget status. I think I'd rather have the GoPro 3 Plus though than a lot of people just using a phone. But phone obviously goes straight to Instagram, and obviously Instagram is huge to get your stuff out there. But I think if you're working on a project and you want to make spots look better, it's definitely you need a GoPro. Obviously, get cameras with fish eyes, but there's no way I would ever do that. Yeah, I know like people film with real expensive kits, and huge lenses, but there's no way I would do that. I would just GoPro it, and obviously if you're going long lens, I would still go with a actual old school camcorder for long lens. You have way better zooming options, and GoPro would kind of like to partner up with that. So that's kind of like my little, I guess I want to do a proper video talking about skateboard filming. So it was kind of like the first thing I really started doing. It'd be a nice little, kind of like a full circle thing, and I might try to like make a little video of kind of like not really how to, but maybe like how I do it kind of thing, and maybe try to maybe I'll do something behind the scenes with Christian this year or something, and try to kind of have like a behind the scenes of how we work together, and could be insightful to people that are working on a skateboard project. I mean, pretty much we've been first part that I pretty much filmed a lot of was probably in 2008. I filmed stuff. I was filming stuff when he was on Black Label, and but like I said, the first heavy like my footage was probably 2008, and pretty much from there I filmed majority. There'll be a few California clips here and there, um, that someone else filmed, but pretty much it's been me for years now. So we kind of built this relationship of what kind of yeah, like almost like it's kind of like what I was saying earlier. It's almost like a director and like an actor in a way. It's like that's why you'll see actors go with the same director, vice versa, because when you work well together, it's kind of why not keep it going? And I think that's kind of what what we have going on. And I'm real excited for the next project, and I'm real happy with this part. I'm real happy how it came out. I'm trying to think about any other insightful things with this part. Yeah, a lot of it was at night, filmed real late, um, and I'd say like probably one of the cool things too is like how hard like we try to like kind of just be spontaneous. And a lot of these tricks in there, like there's that weird full cab spin, stall cab out, like some crazy combo. That was like an idea that was molded out of nowhere. He was trying a trick and then like went to this thing and I was like, oh, it'd be cool to I think I might have like said like shove out first and then it was basically like an experiment of like what could work, what would look better. I think he actually maybe even landed one of the shoves out actually, and it just didn't like with that first 270 or whatever it kind of turns into. I don't remember exactly how it looks now. Um, it just kind of like didn't look as fun or as like aggressive. Kind of like it was kind of missing something. So I was like, well, you're spinning in, just spin out basically. So it just looks like this crazy combo of spinning and and that's kind of like how this part was. Is that snow footage? We had zero ideas of what we were doing. We just knew we wanted to be out there. The rail slide through the snow in the bank slam was probably one of the coolest things. Like when he slammed like, oh, not we're not even gonna do it again because it was perfect. I mean, it really showed exactly what it was like being out there, and there's no point of trying to like land and like not roll because it was just snowy and stuff. So a lot of it just worked out, and like it's just so great. It's cool too because there's there's not like a ton of people in Cleveland like like there's like New York or other big cities, but it was literally no one outside. It's a city to ourselves, and it was weird. Once we were actually frozen, and our bodies are like adapting with being frozen. It was so fun. Like I think that's like it's a time I'll always remember. And the funny thing too is I wish I was just filming like with like a my other cameras or was just actually making video with my phone. But at that time, Instagram Live just came out, and I was filming that snow day. I mean, there's only a few people who seen it, who tuned in because you couldn't save the live videos when it's first started. Was I literally shot live for probably about an hour and a half of that whole night. I mean, we were out for I don't know how long it was, maybe 4 hours. It might have been three. It was a long time that we were out there. The first hour was real tough. Uh, I think that was kind of like our bodies were almost in shock, and his it was almost like our grip tapes were frozen, especially his because he was in the snow a lot more than I was. But like mine was like basically frozen where my feet normally like to be at. Plus I had boots on, and it was just like it's this crazy night, and I'll always remember it. I think like it's cool like when I think back at that time where like how much fun it was, and it was like Christmas time, and it was just like, it was cool, and I'm happy that we did it, and because the weather was real. I mean, obviously the weather was bad beforehand, and the traffic was gnarly, but it kind of worked out perfectly to where the highways were good enough for me to take a slow drive out there and kind of just make it happen. And yeah, so I'm hoping to kind of do more of these little random inside of video kind of projects to kind of enhance them a little bit too. I know we have a few ideas that we've mentioned even like a few years ago that pop back up, so it should be cool to see kind of works out. It might be what year is this? Yeah, so it might be 2019. So might be that time period when you see it. Um, I think a good thing is to follow me on Instagram at bsmitty.com. That's all spelled out. And then Christian at Christian Svitak. He is pretty good about like posting little like some of these clips that are in the video or are on his Instagram from either a year ago or 6 months ago or 2 years ago when it first started. There's a few little tricks like from in this video that's on his Instagram. He'll like tease out some tricks and because it's good to kind of get that out there too in that way. And sometimes I'll post like photos from behind the scenes and any extra bonus content. And yeah, there's actually a video on my YouTube channel somewhere. It's buried somewhere of basically being out filming. I actually do show now that I remember the kit that I was just talking about, the GoPro and the handle and the microphone. So definitely go back and look for that. It'll be a pretty cool. I actually want to go back and watch it now because now like watching the part, like I'm interested what was in there. One thing I wish we had is actually behind the scenes more like of us together filming during the snow because it was just chaos. It was that's one thing I wish we would have done is like just set up a tripod even at some of the spots, like just purposely know we're gonna take the camera back to the car or something, and just to have something that's like just shows both of us like just slamming and just out there having a blast trying to make something happen. But yeah, I want to thank Street Plant and Mike Vallely and everyone involved with doing this. Adam Kier for editing, and obviously Christian for basically you know just being a homie. It's been a fun time, and I'm excited to see what else we're gonna do. And it was definitely a fun project. And I want to thank you for watching this and supporting me along the way. And if you haven't watched the video yet, the best way to find it is just search Christian Svitak in YouTube. You can find a lot of his videos, uh, from the past and whatnot, things that I helped film and all that too. But this one, just search Christian Svitak Kill the Cool 2. And watch the first one if you haven't. That one's good too. That one, we worked pretty hard on that one as well. Definitely different than this one. This one's definitely more of like a vibe, and that's kind of that's basically was his plan, was like I want it to be a thing, and I think we did a pretty good job at making it happen. And um, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'll have more stuff going on too with Christian. I'm gonna look around too, see if I have any other behind the scenes stuff to post, because sometimes I'll film around. I know I have footage of him losing his board, and I wasn't too sure if any of that was gonna be in this video, because I'm not too sure what was filmed with the GoPro. So there's so much stuff I forget. So I'm gonna go through that now since this part's out. I'm pretty much a week behind or something. Yeah, this came out on Halloween, and I've been wanting to do this video, so I'm excited to have this done and get this out there, just to kind of give my insight. Again, thanks to Adam and Mike V and Christian obviously, and I'm excited for the next thing. And thank you for your support. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and I'll talk to you guys soon.